Bitcoin walking around to the sideways in consolidation, coming off of the large pump to the upside, leaving traders wondering which direction to trade in and making reversion to the mean traders. Some very small percentages so far. Volatility's been very low over the past few days, but some edge in there, especially if people are being conservative. But market fees eating them up. Let's take a look at the charts and develop a plan moving forward. Also, are you guys aware of the Cryptocurrency Act of 2020? Because it's coming to a congressman near you, and it will impact the future of this space. All this and more in today's exciting episode of Breaking Bitcoin.
Hello everyone, my name is Silvio Micali. I'm the founder of Algorand and I'm proud and happy to be here with this edition of Breaking Bitcoin.
How are you guys doing? Today is December 20th, 2019, and this is Breaking Bitcoin with your host, Justin Wise. Hopefully you guys are doing absolutely fantastic wherever you happen to be tuning in from today, and that could be YouTube, it could be Twitch, it could be DLive. You guys know I love you. It could be Facebook Live. And it could be on Roku with the Investor News Channel app. Hopefully you guys are doing absolutely fantastic today. We've got such a fantastic show for you. Tell me, how are you guys doing out there? Let me know in the live chat. We've got a lot to talk about. Honestly, not a lot of exciting activity coming in from Bitcoin. And I will tell you that it is exactly times like this when I get to do what I enjoy the most, which is instead of watching the charts or kind of waiting for momentum to move one direction or the other, I can simply do what I love to do, and that is test new strategies, mentor new students, communicate with my team, focus on new concepts, build new indicators, work on code, flesh out what we do. And that's the real joy of having a strategy, right? So many traders who have not taken the time to develop a strategy and execute that strategy consistently. If they're trading, this is the problem with trading price action. This is the problem with trading just momentum, because you are kind of tied to the charts, and most traders end up wasting a lot of time, right? They're just watching the charts, waiting for a movement, and that doesn't allow them to get a lot of work done because you realize fairly quickly multitasking doesn't really work too well. You got the charts over here on this screen and you're trying to do something here over on this screen, and then all of a sudden you miss a signal and then you're in late. It just doesn't turn out to be very good. So, trading that style doesn't allow you to accomplish a lot of work. Whereas the way that we trade, which is setting a strategy, setting your alerts, and going over and doing work on your other screen, you don't even have the charts up on the screen. You don't even care about the charts. Doesn't matter what happens in between taking a signal and then waiting for either an early exit alert, your take profit, or your stop loss. That's all that matters. And you just have tested it, and and you've traded it long enough to know that over enough time, you're going to make money. That's the beautiful thing about strategic trading. All right, so before we begin today, we're going to be talking about the Cryptocurrency Act of 2020. We're obviously going to be doing technical analysis on Bitcoin and your guys' requests, as well as answering your questions. If you guys have any questions throughout the show, make sure to submit them into the live chat. The moderators will grab them and I will handle them at the end of the show in the Q&A segment. Before we begin, if your goal with trading is to be either a full-time professional like myself or my team members, or if you want to earn active income on the side, or if you, like I did, want to take control of your portfolio and experience your own financial independence, you can, of course, sign up and experience what we're offering at premium.crackingcryptocurrency.com. We focus on teaching technical strategy, strategy building, psychological discipline, money management skills, risk management skills, all of the things that are necessary to have long-term success in this space. And because of the way that we do things, we are the fastest, I'm very proud to say, we are the fastest growing educational cryptocurrency provider in the space. And it's really an honor to work with everybody. So again, that's premium.crackingcryptocurrency.com. If you would like to trade with us, learn our rules, and utilize our tools. Now, I also want to thank today's show sponsor, Coygo. They have developed a turnkey solution to managing multiple cryptocurrency exchanges. All of it is handled locally on your machine. Your API keys are stored locally on your machine. Nothing's ever stored on Coygo's servers. It's a really good alternative for individuals who are trading spot altcoins, who are managing a Binance account, managing a Bittrex account. It's also really good when, this is the team shared this with me. One of their highest, value sells is their arbitrage spreads, because you're able to spot those arbitrage spreads in real time, and because you're able to quickly, just as quickly as the exchanges will allow it with Coygo's app, move funds between exchange accounts that are linked you can take advantage of those arbitrage spreads really, really quickly. So if that is your style of trading, if you're a more active trader, if you like order book analysis, then I would recommend checking out their app. It's absolutely free. We don't make any money from you clicking on the link. There's a link down in the description. It's just for tracking purposes, and it's totally free to use. You guys can go check out their beta app and help them make the platform better. We really do like to help out people who are building actual products and services that people like myself or traders can use. So before we get into today's show, here's a brief word for them about their app.
Do you trade cryptocurrencies on multiple exchanges? Coygo is here to help. View real-time insights, including trade analysis, order book superiority, arbitrage scanning, and more. No API keys required. Want to trade, transfer between wallets, or track your portfolio across exchanges? No problem. Just connect your API keys. They're only stored securely on your machine. Coygo servers never have access to your cryptocurrency accounts. Sign up now at coygo.app.
All right, guys. Again, that's coygo.crackencryptocurrency.com, coygo.crackencryptocurrency.com. There is a link down in the description. As I said, we don't get any kickbacks from it. It's free it's free. So it's hard for them to give us kickbacks when the link's free to click on. Anyways, I also want to thank today's today's crypto comment giveaway sponsor, because we do give crypto away every single day on this channel. I want to thank Spectre Security Coin. It's been great to work with them. Good project, good team, good people. SpectreSecurity.io for all your security needs. Let's go give away some cryptocurrency. We said yesterday, comment down below. Comment down below on what security practice, because we were talking about Binance potentially censoring withdrawals, at least in the Singapore division, for withdrawing to Wasabi Wallet. And it's concerning that Binance knew that the address, because it was just a Betch32 address, that the associated address was a Wasabi Wallet address. And that raised a lot of questions. And they wanted the user's income amount. They wanted the users, why they were withdrawing the Wasabi Wallet. Well, this just goes to talk about what we're going to be talking about in today's cryptocurrency segment about the 2020 Cryptocurrency Act here in America. This just hit the House, and this is going to be legislated on. So, we say this, but you guys got to take action. You guys got to call your congressman and make sure that that at least your voice is heard on the future. Believe it or not, democracy does work sometimes, and we can affect change. But so many people are sardonic, sarcastic, depressed, believe that they can't affect anything. How many of you in America have actually picked up the phone and tried to have a conversation with your local congressman? I have. So, and of course, we talked about the European Union's 5 AMLD and the effects that's going to have on the space. So it's very important, if we're going to do this right, if we're going to do the crypto thing right, and we're going to self-regulate, as I said yesterday, it's important that we call out the refuse in our own space, keep our own street secure, and all take the responsibility for promoting a good face to the regulators. Now, with that being said, I asked you guys to comment down below about your security practices as it relates to Bitcoin. So we're going to go through the comments, randomly pick one. And, well, not randomly pick one. You would have had to comment about security. So might be arbitrary. People are probably going to say like, I picked the winner. I'll come up with a better solution. I'm sorry, guys. We're a small stream. You guys are all family to us. You guys are cool. Let's do this. Let's give away some crypto. All right, so here we are in the comment section for yesterday's video. Of course, yesterday's video, should you be buying BTC at 7K? We talked about, it's actually funnier. We talked about Bitfinex's trader's massive loss, $26 million drawdown. What's actually worse about that is that a few months ago, he was up, 14, 16 million. So it's actually about a $40 million swing. So that actually is worse. Now, of course, that's unrealized. He hasn't closed his trade out. GB Wally saying he loves the show. Thank you, man. Crypto Caveman. Let's see. ETHONE says he uses an offline wallet for savings and the rest are on Kraken to make more money every day. Simple and useful. Also, at the end of the day, what I make on my trades in profit, I send to my offline wallet. Let's see here. Jay Big talking about KYC necessary to sign up on Binance. And Jay Big says, don't transfer to a wallet. Binance cancel, send to another wallet, then transfer where you want. If that's too expensive, then don't use BTC. Life's full of choices. Well, the only individual who commented about his security practices then was ETH1. Congratulations, my friend. Get a hold of me in the Discord, and I will gladly tip you some crypto. All right. With that being said, to the live scene. And here we are. Here we are on the daily time frame of BTC. Just look at her, man. She's a beaut. She is a real beauty when we look at her like this, and then when we just kind of zoom, oh, that's ugly. Whew, boy, is that ugly. All right. Guys, the lovely space. You know, the one thing I want to talk about, maybe I'm not cognizant about this enough because I was profitable in the bear market. I came out with more Bitcoin than I started with. I came out with more dollars than I started with. I was profitable in the bull run. I'm being profitable in the bearish trend. You know, I just want to put this out there. It doesn't really matter where you are with Bitcoin. I've talked about where I think the market bottom will be. But you guys' predictions are wishes and fishes. You know, I'm a trader, so I just trade what's in front of me at any given moment. I don't try to impose my bias or my ego upon my trades. That's one of the first things that you have to understand when you go through the psychological discipline of becoming a trader, a profitable trader. You have to realize that you're not going to be right, and it's not important if you're right. The only thing that matters is if you make money. A lot of traders want to be right. They want to call tops and bottoms. They want to pick where the trend will end. They want to pick when price will break out. They want to be right. And it is not accepting that you were wrong quickly enough or at all, often, because you turn a trade into an investment or you just don't listen to the signs, you don't listen to the strategy that you've built, that causes individuals to have drawdown. It is by kind of getting rid of that ego and looking at the charts passively, looking at the charts with no desire to be right. You don't want to be right. It doesn't matter if you're right. You know, what if I told you that you could have a strategy that you have 9 losses in a row and then a big win? 9 small losses, big win. 9 small losses, big win. That's probably not the best strategy, but I've seen strategies like that, and the person makes money. You know, people say, I need to take all these trades because they see price fluctuating. What if I told you you could take 12, 13 trades a year and make 30 to 60%? Bitcoin does that. Bitcoin moves volatilely. So with the right money management and the right discipline, you can succeed in this space. The only thing that matters is whether or not you have an edge. I think the biggest problem, and I see this everywhere. I see this on Telegram. I see this on Twitter. I see this in YouTube. I see this with new students coming in, is that they see the market move. They see other people making money, and therefore they think that should have been a trade that they took. They feel silly or dumb or incompetent for having missed that trade. When the reality is, not every movement in the market is going to be your trade. In fact, very few of them probably will be your trade. The only thing that matters is whether you can develop a system that gives you an edge, right? So it doesn't matter if you're taking trades that are completely different from everybody else's. It doesn't matter if you're not catching the movements that they're catching. The only thing that matters is, have you built a strategy that catches moves, right? And there should be your moves. They're your strategy. They're your setup. And again, the only lens that we measure anything through around here, performative. Do you make money? If you make money, you're a good trader. If you don't make money, you're not a good trader. It's that simple. Anyways, so let's talk about the charts. Let's go over to the daily and begin our analysis there. Well, hold on. Let's do as we normally do. Let's take our EMAs off. We'll just kind of start and build up, right? So we are at weekly, relatively, not on current closing price, but we're about as low as we've been since the rejection. Not all year, of course, but the lowest we've been Q4 2019, and the lowest that we've been on a wicking basis. And obviously, price is in a bearish trend, right? This hasn't changed. We need to look at the higher time frames to determine this, because things, when trends exist, they last for weeks, they last for months, they don't last. Trends are not trends on the 4-hour chart. That is a meso trend, certainly, but it's not a trend. It doesn't give you deterministic factors of which direction to trade in. Overall, what is the broader market doing? What is the broader direction of the market? Of course, we are still getting a reaction from tapping into demand, our high volume node cluster between 6,600 and 6,126. Overhead supply still between 7,857 and 8,331. And it's really that level, just to make it very, very simple, it's really that level that needs to be pierced, broken, closed above, tested, back, whatever method that you guys want to utilize for breaks of resistance or breaks of supply that is going to begin to give us our first sign of macro trend switching, right? It's kind of at that level that you might want to consider pulling hedges off. It's maybe at that level that you might want to consider looking for longs on a macro time frame. But we can't know that until we get to that level. Okay, that's pretty simple. On the monthly, of course, we are still dealing with the overall powerful sell signal from our indicator Wada-Atar explosion. as well as, of course, closing below the baseline over here, the first time we closed below the baseline. The other thing that I want to mention on the monthly is what I talked about yesterday. We are currently finding a little bit of support on the monthly 21 exponential moving average. And although we can see bounces off of this, not market bottoms historically, local bottoms historically, not market bottoms. As we can see, if we just go back to 2018, and we can look further back for historical examples, but I feel that the market is quite different now than it was in 2016 and 17, right? That's very different environment. Coming off of a high, bullish run up, very big bullish run up, blow off top. I mean, these things look identical, just on a lower scale. And in fact, on this chart, you might even have a macro bearish bias by saying, oh, lower high, lower low, 1K incoming. Now, I don't personally believe that, but I've definitely seen that. And you could make that determination if you just ignored other factors that are a little bit more historical. But anyways, I digress. As we can see back here in 2018, we did accumulate. We did have a nice nice 20% bounce. And of course, that's tradable on the daily. And on the daily, that's a trade that PTP would have caught. But as far as monthly analysis, macro analysis, weekly analysis, it wasn't a market bottom. Of course not. If you would have bought here on this candle, thinking that this was the market bottom and we were going to go up from here, well, you would have been sorely disappointed. And it's very unrealistic to think that any traders would have bought at 7K and held down to 3K. I mean, we saw, obviously, we always see this at market bottoms. A lot of people sell the bottom, right? That's what causes a market bottom from supply and demand theory. So anyways, we consolidated the 21 exponential moving average, moved sideways for about 5 months, and then we broke to the downside. And we actually did end up finding support on, now the Coinbase chart for some reason is weird here. So we will go ahead and look at this on the Bitstamp chart. And we can see, where do we find support? On the 55 monthly, the 55, not the 21. The 21 represents local bottoms occasionally, not market bottoms. So that's what we're currently looking at. And the monthly EMA, the monthly 55 EMA coming in at $5,031, rising up slightly because the monthly EMA is overall, the 55 monthly average is in an uptrend, right? Whereas our lower time frame EMAs, our 21 is stalling out. Our 13 EMA, our quicker EMA, is actually tilting to the downside. Now we're looking kind of that monthly cross under, but monthly crossover is not really something that I pay too much attention to. They're far too slow. You're going to miss trades. Bitcoin moves quickly. I don't know if you've heard. But anyways, this lines up very, very, very nicely with our current lower level of demand down at that level, 4,900. So I've said that level a lot. Right. And I want to lay out these scenarios because that's how I feel. I was saying very similar things over here. And at the same time, though, going back to that earlier concept of dissolving your ego and not having to be right, I'm totally okay if I'm wrong. I just have a strategy and a setup for what to do if price does what, right? Looking at price, it looks like we're tapped into demand. We're going to experience local bottoms. There could be some limited upside potential here. Okay. When we get down to the daily, we've talked obviously about the $8,000 area that I want to be refilling full risk shorts at and not looking to go long above that level until it's definitively broken and I get a nice, beautiful long signal from PTP, which we're currently not getting. And we have the nice confluence of the monthly 55, which acted as support before. Yep. Okay, so we've gone over that before, getting down to the weekly. Again, we have overhead supply in the form of our high volume node and the weekly 55 exponential moving average, which does, again, very similar to the monthly 55, act as a beautiful determination of support and resistance, right? Very, very rarely is it broken through on higher time frames with no. That's it. Very rarely is it broken through on higher time frames. Again, we bounce here and we bounce here. And you can see we do consolidate here and then we break down. That lets you know that you have a weekly trade to the downside. Does break here. So you have two examples right here. And then we have bounce and we have bounce and we have consolidation. You can see it does act as good resistance. And then when it breaks above, you've got a beautiful bullish trend. Bounce, break through. And again, just as the way onto the upside, on the way to the downside means we are now in a bearish trend, if you didn't know before. So the idea that this is the local bottom for Bitcoin, I'm definitely not sold on that. Definitely have a bearish bias. But again, with biases, you also have to be willing to be But you also have to have a plan to reevaluate that bias. And for me, that's breaking 8,000. So if we get above 8,000, we can look to be going long again. The other thing that I'm looking at is look how close the weekly 13 is getting to the weekly 55. I've talked about baseline crossovers and cross unders before. That's a concept that I haven't heard anybody else talk about. And when you see these cross unders occur, they do not get you into the first half of the trend, but they definitely get you into the second half of the trend. And what often follows is blow off bottom. So very similar on that monthly chart, when we finally got the powerful signal from Wada Atar explosion to go long, we only had one more green monthly candle, but it was a blow off top. So we might only have one more red bearish candle left in Bitcoin on the monthly, but it's likely to be a blow off bottom. Okay. So looking at the daily, we got a pretty interesting area of the market. Let's take our EMAs off and we'll just bring up the 20 HMA, right? So we've got some interesting things. Now, on yesterday's close, you could have taken a 1, 2, 3 confirmation long trade, 1% risk. As I said, not a trade that I took. It definitely was on the table for premium members. And, again, I'm rooting for you guys if it works out for you. Just doesn't fit into my risk profile this time for me personally. I actually ended up taking an Ethereum short, and I'm just kind of monitoring the LTFs with my lower time frame scalping strategy that I put together, and I'm pushing those signals through to the members. And I'm working on getting that automated so that I don't have to spend so much time doing it, because it's actually taking up a little bit of my day. But any hoosers, there's really not a whole lot here to talk about. Very low volume coming off of that pump, and subjectively, this does really remind me of this kind of movement right here. Where we pumped up and then we just drifted sideways down, and every pump's been an opportunity to short. Every pump's been an opportunity to short. And I don't necessarily see how this is different. BitMEX funding is non-deterministic at this point in time. There's no trade setups to be taken there. Hash ribbons were still in the thralls of minor capitulation, and that's one of the other fundamental indicators that I've talked about that's unique and specific to Bitcoin that would suggest to me that we should not be looking for longs here. So I do not think, even if we go to 8K, and that's fine. Like, it's fine if you want to take a long to 8K. It's a trade setup that's on the table. Again, the first target, let's make sure this is set for longs. The first target that you would have gotten coming off of yesterday's close would have been somewhere around 7,500. And that's really the breakout zone that I talked about. I have talked about taking the trade from 7.5 to 8K. That's something that I'd be okay with, something that I'd probably take on the 4 or the 2 hour time frame if I can actually get the decent momentum signal. But on the daily, we don't have a lot to go on here. There's not a full trade setup. I would really want to be seeing, listen, honestly, I'll tell you what I'm waiting for. And this is the rising explosion level from Wada Atar explosion, my volatility filter. I really want to see the volatility filter give me the go ahead on this if we're looking at a trend reversal. I don't want to be calling tops and bottoms. I think that's dangerous. That's how people get wrecked. So there's nothing wrong if you're not certain what to do with sitting on your hands. Bitcoin's been pretty tricky, pretty treacherous in December if you've been trying to trade up and down. A lot easier if you were just trading to the downside. Again, looking at the short position that we rode and the hedge position that we rode through the majority of this. Again, we hedged in this zone right here again, and still hedged as we sit. And it's going to take quite a bit for us to pull off our hedge positions. Looking at the broader markets. Let's make sure we give this a refresh. Looking at the broader market, pretty good day for altcoins, low volatility day. And, I really got to thank my analysts for being busy on this. I know one that we're in, for example, Pearl doing pretty good. Algo, Eternity, Mana, Matic, Ethereum Classic, IOST, Digitex Futures, Luna, and they're just natural. We're seeing a reversion to the mean here, right? So we had a lot of oversold altcoins, and now they're pulling back because Bitcoin's value has returned basically to where it was last week. So, a lot of these altcoins dropped down to account for that. Now they've just pulled back up. Definitely trading opportunities there, especially, so it makes sense to trade alt BTC pairs if Bitcoin's price is relatively stable, if volatility on Bitcoin's fairly low intraday, or volume on Bitcoin is fairly low intraday, which it is. And we're moving into the weekend. I would normally have a bullish bias for the week moving into the weekend. But what we have seen over the weekends lately is just sell-off. So, definitely just looking for the opportunity to short. I know that a lot of the members are actually just in an active short on Bitcoin. That one of our analysts got us in around 73.5. So that's a good trade. Eli Back, thank you so much for the $5 tip, my friend. Good afternoon. please check out Waves BTC. Absolutely, my friend. Please, one of the moderators, put that down in the Q&A section, and I'll get to that absolutely first thing, my friend. Don't let me get off track. Definitely want to finish my point, but thank you so much for the generous contribution, my friend. You're the man. Let's see here. Yeah. Okay, so before we get into the weather report for today, before we get into today's crypto currently segment, let's look at the lower time frames and see if we had any decent setups. We do have multiple 3-conf trades on pretty much the first 12-hour candle right here, doing fairly okay for you. We do have an let's see here. We do have an 8-hour long here. I think he would still be in that. He'd be in drawdown, but you would have definitely wanted to wait for the pullback. Could you have even gotten the pullback on that? Yeah. Yeah, so you could have entered here on the 8-hour time frame. Yeah, once you came back within the buy zone. So that would 8-hour time frame would be giving you an average entry of around 71.41. And you're up a few percentages because Bitcoin is having a little bit of bullish activity right now. 4-hour time frame, same thing. You could have gone long on this candle, grabbed yourself some tidy profit. If you waited for the rising explosion level, this would have chopped you out. You would have had a losing trade. But you did get a decent entry here in the qualifying zone line right here. And price just largely drifting sideways, though. The whole moving average really sliding up to compensate for that movement. So overall, not the greatest position in the world. Small, meager profit on that. Now you're kind of dealing with low comps. The lower time frames here are getting a little skewed, or the meso time frames getting a little skewed from that big run up. The 2-hour, again, as it usually does, caught this movement very beautifully. You could have started going long here with full confirmation here, captured the tail end of this movement. Very nice. And WAD, as we can see, has largely kept you out of any of this nonsense. What do we got coming in here? We do have a rising explosion level in the last 2-hour close. So a nice long signal right here on the 2-hour. And then the 30-minute right here. 30-minute right here. This is actually the 30-minute system signaled the long on this candle right here, the previous 30-minute candle. So that's what I'm in. Low risk trades on the 30-minute time frame. Still, again, all my trades are being guised into the manner of a hedge. Had a few break-even trades throughout this range right here. Because I put on the WADA strategy, I could have thrown on the reversion to the mean strategy, but I pulled that one off the books, and I'm doing some tweaking to it because we're getting ready to automate all of these for our members. So if you're a premium member, you'll actually have access to these signals instead of just the manual trades from our analysts. So it's pretty neat. It's pretty neat. We're really growing a lot of stuff moving into 2020 for the Kraken Cryptocurrency Premium Trading Group, especially with our online learning academy. So I'm really dedicated to building the best online learning platform that I possibly can for individuals to come in and learn trading from beginning to end. No holes in the education. Everything you want to know. This is what a candle is. This is what moves price. This is supply and demand. This is liquidity. This is how you build a strategy. These are breathing exercises. Here are some mindfulness exercises. Here's the journal that you need to use. Here's a default template strategy. Here's pine codes so you can write your own. Those are all things that members already get to a large degree. And I just want to consolidate that into the best online academy that I possibly can so that I can teach traders how I trade, because I'm sick. I'm sick and tired of seeing all the educational stuff that is offered to traders in all sectors. It's all mostly garbage, in my opinion. It's all mostly garbage. Okay, let's see here. And that was a second buy signal that just rolled in on the 30-minute time frame. Okay. All right. So with all of this kind of activity in Bitcoin, I think that it is high time that we check in with junior analyst Midwest Attempts. Get a beat on the weather out there in Bitcoin City with today's Bitcoin weather report. Midwest, what do you got for us today?
Well, for today, we got a little bit of high, we got a little bit of low, but I'm gonna stay out of this riffraff for now, but I'll get back to you when it's a better time. Right now it's not doing it for me. Back to you.
Thank you guys. Sorry. Talked for a long time with a muted mic. Thank you, sir. I have now fixed it. There we go. And I'm back. Sorry. Stop freaking out. Okay, so I got a ton of people that just rolled in there. All right. Thank you guys. Sorry about that. Microphone exit scam, right? Now, on the 4-hour time frame. Okay, so let me just repeat everything that I said. On the 4-hour time frame, we do have on the previous candle the 4-hour 1355 moving average crossover, which is pretty neat, which is pretty decent. The current 4-hour close is going to be giving you the powerful signal from Watt-Tar explosion. Now, my minx is actually under the baseline, so there's a lot here that isn't quite right. Subjectively, I kind of like this setup. The only discriminating factors I would say about this particular trade is that I can see a potential about 2.5% moving up here to maybe the 200 SMA. And obviously our kind of peak high right here. I think that would represent a good, at least first initial take profit. But short sellers also take note, because there's going to be a lot of short sellers who want to come in right at this area. Price action traders who would view this as not only the resistance of the 200 SMA, but also the retest of supply, right? So common price action strategy is you get a high and then you wait to actually take your short until price retests that level of supply where the market turned around. And then if you see rejection, right, this is subjective trading, discretionary trading. If you see rejection, then you enter into your short, right? You want to see some nice volume come in, some strong, firm rejection. Da Vinci often trades like this. And that's okay. You might have two potential setups right here. Not what I'm going to be doing. I'm just going to be writing this. Again, I'm just going to be following my indicators into what they tell me to do. Right now, they told me to go long about an hour ago. And that's about it. I read lips. But again, as I said, this is a 4-hour signal. The 4 hour doesn't close for about an hour and 30 minutes, give or take. So you need to wait. Okay. Really got to get this microphone closer. Maybe I sit more to the right. I just walk with a limp. Okay. Okay, so we've got a lot to get into with today's crypto currently segment. We got to talk taxes. We got to talk crypto taxes, guys. Let's talk crypto taxes. Now, our first story, really our only story today, is going to be the U.S. Congress to consider Cryptocurrency Act in 2020, of course, coming to us from the Bitcoinist. Now, this is important, so you guys need to pay attention. Now, the United States is way behind in regulation as far as cryptocurrency goes. The European Union has already passed the 5 AMLD. Other nations, China, have already all defined virtual currencies. The US is significantly lacking in this area, and that is what's causing cryptocurrency companies, cryptocurrency startups, the intellectual brain drain that is occurring, that all these individuals are leaving the United States because of the lack of clear regulatory oversight. Now, the United States, however, is trying to catch up in the global race, because Congress is currently preparing a new bill that is seeking to clear the air for regulation regarding cryptocurrencies in 2020. Now, Forbes actually grabbed this. We actually grabbed this from Forbes, and the proposed bill is called the Cryptocurrency Act of 2020, and it aims to provide a clear framework for how cryptocurrencies will be regulated in the United States, beginning with establishing protocols for defining just what a digital asset is. Of course, remember yesterday we talked about the European Union's definition of what a virtual currency is by stating that it is any form of currency that is not issued by a central bank or a governing authority, right? The lack of central authority is, to the European Union, what is defining a virtual currency. And that's important because it kind of allows these regulators to distance it from things like stocks and Forex, right? Taxation purposes, property right purposes. They're defining it as very, very different, right? Because we haven't really seen very many things that have been tangible that are decentralized. Decentralized is a reality in nature, but it's not a reality in how humans have built things. So where courts of law and where legal systems and where governments are concerned, they are almost always used to just dealing with centralized matters. Stocks are centralized. You have an issuing authority. Currencies are centralized. They have an issuing central bank. Companies are centralized. You have a CEO and you have shareholders. You have voting rights. It's not decentralized. There is a centralized authority. Now, this bill is recognizing 3 distinct forms of digital tokens: crypto commodities, crypto securities, and cryptocurrencies. They are making 3 different definitions for these 3 different things. And according to the bill, crypto securities are going to be covering all blockchain-based derivatives, equity, and debt instruments. So not only are this is going to be your most likely, the way that I understand it, your DAIs, your stable coins, anything that's a debt instrument, any form of decentralized finance. A lot of these applications coming out of the Ethereum blockchain for decentralized finance. This is all going to be falling under the crypto security tag, insofar as I understand this bill. Now, moving forward, the bill is laying out the duties and responsibilities of federal regulators pertaining to the different crypto technologies. There are 3 U.S. regulatory agencies in the proposed bill that will be mandated with crypto-related oversight. And of course, that is going to be the Securities and Exchange Commission, the SEC, the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, or FinCEN, and of course, the Commodities and Future Trading Commission, CFTC. Now, as detailed in the bill, the SEC is going to be tasked with the oversight of crypto securities. The CFTC, on the other hand, will be overseeing the crypto commodities, while FinCEN is going to be creating a framework for tracking cryptocurrency transactions. You heard that right. FinCEN is going to create a framework for tracking cryptocurrency transactions for United States citizens. Now, all 3 of these regulatory agencies in the bill, in the proposal, will be serving under a broader banner of Federal Crypto Regulator or Federal Digital Asset Regulator. I always like titles. That's a new placard that they can put on their desks. Now, according to the bill, all 3 federal regulators will publicly publish detailed lists of licensing and certification requirements. And certification requirements for participants in the United States crypto market. The three agencies will also collaborate with one another to provide robust coverage for cryptocurrency regulations. Now, this particular setup is similar to how the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency, the Federal Reserve, and the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation all work together to govern the mainstream financial market. So they just took a bill out of how the Fed currently does things with money and say, well, we'll just do that for Bitcoin. Now, the benefit to the cryptocurrency space in the United States coming out of this is going to be ostensibly that the proposed bill is going to bring some level of clarity to the slate of crypto regulations in the country. Now, while the current regulatory landscape is more of a patchwork of state and federal cryptocurrency regulations, this new regulatory reform made on a federal level is most likely going to be paving the path for unprecedented, we hope, development and business investment in this industry. So a lot of that was fleeing the United States due to lack of certainty, lack of regulation. The regulation is coming. We're not going to like it on the retail end. We're not going to like it on the user end, but companies might like it, and it's going to give them a little bit of hope and confidence to come back because they know that they can now operate within a framework, because businesses are interested in entering the space because there's a lot of money to be made. There's a lot of products to be built. There's a user base. There's a customer base. There's all kinds of products and services that can be built. Exchanges are interested in listing these assets because there's a demand to trade them. Wherever there's a demand to trade them, if they get listed on an exchange, the exchange makes money. Traders have a desire to trade these assets because they are volatile and money can be made. Investors have a desire to hold these assets because there is an opportunity to realize profits from investments. Now, whether that's monetary profits or whether that's the kind of the bigger profits of investing in Bitcoin anyways, which is you're getting the currency of the future today. Now, one of the major takeaways from reading the proposed bill is the designation of FinCEN as a core crypto regulator, shifting their current role in mainstream finance as merely a law enforcement arm. Now, the bill seems to be trying to nail down exactly what will constitute a security as far as digital tokens are concerned. And the issue of what should be deemed a security continues to divide industry commenters in the US. Some lawmakers have even introduced a bill, the Token Taxonomy Act, seeking to exempt digital tokens from securities regulation. I'll tell you this, that's not going to fly. Now, since the announcement of the Libra project, 2019 has seen crypto-related matters become a fixture in U.S. legislative activities, with a number of industry stakeholders appearing before Congress in recent months, many of which we've reported on. Along with the EU's 5 AMLD directly addressing digital assets, as we discussed yesterday, 2020 is going to be the year where governments around the world all start to seriously integrate crypto regulatory structures into their currently existing mainstream financial oversight. Dovetailing on this, with sovereign digital currencies or central bank digital currencies on the horizon, the next decade is going to be we're going to see the way being paved for Washington and bureaucrats around the world alike. Let me rephrase that. 2020 is going to be the year over the next 2020 and moving into the next decade. We're going to be seeing the way paved for Washington and bureaucrats around the world to enter into the space. Or if you'd like to put it another way, the space being paved for Washington and other bureaucrats. So we've had it pretty easy up until now. Things have been largely laissez-faire in the cryptocurrency space. And unfortunately, for us right now, that is going to be changing. It's going to be changing in a significant way. This is going to affect how exchanges operate. This is going to affect how taxes are paid. This is going to affect what you can invest in. This is going to affect what you cannot invest in, right? Now, you can still do illegal things, certainly, but currently, a lot of things that you can do with the blockchain seems to be gray area territory. And what the government is interested in doing is really slicing down how wide that banner of gray territory is. And this is a deep, deep question and conversation that we have in cryptocurrency all the time. Is regulation a good thing? Is regulation a bad thing? Will it be good for the space? Will it make number go up? Right? Overall, I think that it make number go up, but it just makes the burden on us to develop truly open sourced, decentralized products and innovate to the best of our degree so important in this space. Let me know your guys' thoughts and comments in the section down below if you're watching this after the show. Because this is an important topic, and I'd really like to compile as much information as I can about this. Now, our next story of the day, we do have more to talk about. We're going to be talking about Libra. So if you thought that regulators were throwing the brakes on Libra's planned rollout for late 2020, they just published a recent roadmap 2.0. The Libra blog says otherwise, with details describing their preparations for the upcoming launch of Libra. Now, while the project does not actually have a firm date set for their actual launch beyond the rough late 2020 estimate, they are continuing to build steam, as the blog post is suggesting that the testnet is going to be remaining operational, with the Libra Association members continuing to flesh out the operation on an ongoing basis. And the new roadmap includes work on launching the mainnet, establishing the criteria for a launch, as well as educating the community on contributing to the project. In the blog, the developer team stated, quote, "We have finished relevant design work and have gone through a thorough bottom-up timeline plan for all features. We are now working on a full set of Libra protocol architecture documents and finalizing our external APIs with input from the community. Moving forward, we are starting to identify the work needed to enable the community that the Libra project hopes to attract." And the Libra testnet is already running 8 validator nodes, while tests are running on the consensus protocol and its potential flaws. The Libra dev team is also working on setting up validator nodes for non-technical members who may hire an outside team to support their node. Now, on the non-technical side, the launch of the Libra digital currency is still dependent on wallet compliance and handling fiat reserves to back up their stablecoin. It's the financial, regulatory hurdles that are the major obstacles that will or could delay their 2020 debut. And make no mistake, things like Libra, and of course things like Bitcoin, are the main reason why the government is so gung-ho about the Cryptocurrency Act of 2020. Yet, despite the work of the developers, Libra may take the better part of 2020 to actually get a launch or get close to a launch. The criteria for the roadmap are still in a flux and have to be finalized by June 2020, when Libra will once again have to face the regulators for approval of their project. So don't think they went away. Back over to Bitcoin. Did we just get slapped down? Well, we got to slap down. And we're trying though, man. Support. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 taps on that level of resistance. I mean, generally, the rule of thumb is sideways consolidation after a large move up is an indication that price is reaccumulating and going to break to the upside. I know I've talked to a couple of the guys, and they actually have stop market sell orders, so they are kind of looking for the breakout trade to the upside currently, but they're ready to kind of get stop marketed into a short trade should price fail the breakout here. All right, so we've got a few more minutes. We got about 5 more minutes here. So let's go over and take a look at Ethereum. And Wally, thank you so much for the $10, my friend. Thank you so much for the tip. He says, the SEC proposed to expand accredited investors to include knowledge and things, not just wealth. Well, potentially that would make me disqualified as an accredited investor from now on. But you know, I don't, you know, I see where they're coming from. Like, I understand regulation and why they do these things. It doesn't, and like I was talking about yesterday, you know, there is this kind of idea with a lot of people in cryptocurrency that regulation is just 100% evil and these people have malicious intentions, right? That the SEC is the enforcement arm of the Illuminati and they are out to personally take your Bitcoin. They don't care. I mean, most of the people that work in the SEC genuinely believe they're doing a good thing. They genuinely believe that this regulation is the way that society is supposed to function and is the correct way to protect consumers. Do you have banks that lobby for regulation? Do you have individual interests that lobby for regulation that is pro their interest and counter to maybe a large proportion of the population's interest? Yes, but you get that with literally everything, right? You know, every whale that goes in and dumps his bag on a cryptocurrency exchange is acting in his best interest and not in the market's best interest. But overall, for the most part, the rules of the exchanges are put there to attempt to protect as many people as possible. You know, life's complicated, man. It's not all evil on one side, not all good on one side. Now, the question that we just have to ask ourselves as a society, and I believe we've answered this question with the invention of the blockchain and with its rapid expansion around the world and insertion into the way that we do things. We obviously know, clearly, if you guys are following me here, if you guys just look at social evolution, right? If we just like look into the future far enough, okay? For me anyways, when I look into the future and I think of, okay, if mankind is able to not blow ourselves up, you know, is society going to be looking like this all the time, right? Are we always going to have government? Are we always going to have banks? Well, the answer to me is like, that sounds silly, right? We talk about Star Trek, the Star Trek society. We talk about, you know, what kind of civilizations would other, you know, maybe extraterrestrials or, you know, just what other advanced beings or whatever, right? You know, however, you know, physical or weird or out there you want to get with it, right? You know, but you think, right? You have these kind of currently fantasy thoughts or fantastical thoughts about what the future of society will look like. And it seems to me that decentralization is a good hint, you know, at what the future has the potential to look like, right? You know, decentralized finance, decentralized currency, decentralized legislation, decentralized government. All of these things are possibilities. It just depends on what kind of world we want to create, what kind of society we want to create. You know, it took humanity a long time to evolve, you know, socio-emotionally enough to not kill each other, right? Randomly in the fields, you know, tribe on tribe warfare. It took us a while to evolve over that. And now we, for the most part, function in, you know, modern societies where murder is actually relatively rare. You know, so it just takes time for us to kind of move forward, right? So it seems clear to me that decentralization is the future. The question is just how long is it going to take to get there? Can we have some big revolution groundswell right now? Well, those tend not to work too great, but we're already seeing a big change. You know, likely, realistically, it's going to take quite a while to move past things like government or, you know, because we got to do our own work, right? People have to be better people to deserve better societies, right? You can't just, you know, you can't throw pearls before swine, right? If you guys want to get rid of things like prisons, and you guys want to get rid of things like crime, and you guys want to get rid of things like governments, and you guys want to get rid of things like banks, well, we got to do some work, man. We got to do some work. We got to grow. We got to get better. We got to be more mature. We got to be responsible, right? We got to stride. You know, I hate to go to my soapbox issue, but give you guys a little bit of a detail. We got to do something about our kids, man. You know, like I have 3 young children and they're awesome. But I go to like social events where there's other kids, and I don't know if this is just me. I don't know if I'm just like, if I just think differently. Please tell me if I do. But I just see all these, like the modern generation of kids, and they are, for the most part, this is America, right? Like unruly and, you know, disrespectful. They have no, like, and I'm talking about like 12, 13, 14-year-olds. I mean, they just have no idea what's going on in life. Where, you know, a couple hundred years, you know, like maybe 1,000 years ago, 12, 13, 14-year-old boys would be getting ready for war, right? Taking care of their family, doing chores. Man, this is getting, I mean, that depresses me, right? That we're, you know, 35,000 years into society building, and we haven't come up with like best case plan for how to raise kids to be responsible, honest, independent type thing. That's my soapbox as a father. Anyways, guys, it is 12:58. We are going to take a quick break on the recommendation of Mr. Don Candon there. Before we go to break, guys, I do just want to say, if you support the content, if you enjoy what we're doing here, you can support the channel by subscribing on YouTube, hitting the bell. We are live every single day at 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. And because cryptocurrency channels tend to fall into the black hole of the YouTube algorithm, if you search for us, you might not find us as easily. You might not get the notification if you're just subscribed. So hitting the bell will definitely help you out. And of course, thumbs ups are highly appreciated. Smash it like there's no tomorrow, guys. Of course, make sure to check out today's sponsor of the show, Coygo.crackingcryptocurrency.com. Check out their free and secure app. And if you guys are interested in trading with us, of course, the links are down in the description for everything you could possibly need in your life whatsoever. There's no links to shampoo down there. So if you got hair, you're going to have to get that on Amazon. We don't do the whole Amazon thing. But, you know, for the most part, everything that you need to survive and sustain your living as a digital nomad, as a survivor of the cryptocurrency markets, it's down there, my friends. We'll be right back. And a brief word from our friend Midwest Attempts. One more time, guys. See you in a minute.
This is Jason when he first learned about Bitcoin margin trading on BitMEX.
Why? Why? Give it back! Give it back! Oh, give it back!
This is Jason 6 months later after signing up for Bybit with the Cracking Cryptocurrency referral link found in the description below. Don't make the same mistake as Jason. Sign up today at bybit.crackingcryptocurrency.com.
Hey guys, and we're back. Thank you guys so much for holding through the break. And as we always do, when we come back from break, we give away some lemons to our DLive viewers. Congratulations in advance. Sorry, guys. Congratulations in advance to all the lemon winners out there. All right. Checking back in with Mr. Bitcoin, because it's been, you know, it's been 5 minutes. Things could be dramatically different. 30 minute. Still long from right here. Testing that level of supply, and we'll see if we get the rejection or if we get a little baby breakout. Let's go to all right. Of course, Mr. Eli Bak with the waves analysis will come first. All right. So waves has been pretty volatile. Haven't seen the Haven't seen a big run up in its value. Obviously, its USD value is going up, even though its value per sat is going down. I would estimate. Not today. Not today. Waves hasn't been the most profitable trade today. Got a nice little buy-in level right here. We're pretty low risk. If we're looking at the Bittrex right here, looking for a swing up. What are we seeing on average? We've seen about 8% bounces, sometimes greater. This is a 20. That's a 25. Kind of curling down toward it. So this is a little higher risk, but you got an opportunity there for an intraday trade. Let's take a gander on higher time frames and get a nice directional bias. And here's waves on the daily. And I mean, this is trending pretty nicely, right? You know, we're to the upside. We're stalling out a little bit in consolidation. You know, these wicks kind of concern me because you've got your first big initial massive market sell-off. You do get the reactionary buyback. It tries to climb. It gets chunked down. Now you're just kind of moving sideways. I hate rangy consolidation markets. It's pretty volatile. So you do got opportunity there. Again, these are like 10% candles. So intraday, there's a lot of opportunity here. On the daily, let's see where our baseline is at. I always have trouble seeing this black on black thing. On the daily, you've got pretty low risk right now. Let's see. Mink's kind of curling down. I don't really like to see that. Falling volatility, of course, on Wadatar explosion. This isn't the best reentry signal I like to see on the daily. Of course, you do have some nice R to R, but these things, when they do tend to sell off, they tend to sell off quickly. So I would probably instead look at our EMAs, because you do have the 1355 crossover on the daily. What often happens immediately after those crossovers, you often will get a retest. So that's about 15% to the downside. That's about 15% to the downside. So if I had entered into waves here, I think you did. Very similar to what I said yesterday. I hope you got opportunity to take profit on this candle, on this wick to the upside. This isn't something that I would hold right now. This is a profit-taking area for me. If we get a breakout above this and not the pullback, that's fine. That happens. Look for that reentry opportunity on some lower time frame to get you back into the trade. You know, something like the 2 hour, something like the 4 hour to give you that nice trending signal would be good. And as you can see, you know, the trending signals to the upside largely stopped right around here. And you would have not been getting faked out anymore by the market. 4 hour probably even a little cleaner. Yeah, the 4 hours had you out of going long from over here, looking for that. As you can see, there's a difference between catching the daily trend, and then there's a difference between catching intraday opportunities, right? Intraday opportunities can be found on lower time frames. You know, catching these nice, beautiful daily trends. Typically, looking at intraday charts will have you far too active, and you'll be, you know, stepping over dollars to pick up pennies, right? Trying to scalp when you could just, you know, take a nice long trending signal and capture, you know, 30, 40, 60%. And you can do that on altcoins. So this is a profit-taking opportunity area for me. You can look for the retest of the 1355 for the baseline crossover down here around 72 cents. Yeah, currently sitting at about 86 cents. It's about a 15% pullback in dollar value. Yeah, I would like to see a pullback and then reentry. That'd be a reversal in the direction of the trend. Of course, you can also wait for the pullback, not limit buy, and then wait for signs of recovery, right? And then kind of zoom down to the 4 hour, the 2 hour to take the trending signal, right? That's fine. Don't really see anything here that impresses me on the meso time frames. Again, what do we say about the 21? It is not a market bottom. It's a local bottom, and that's true even on meso time frames. We get little bounces, but the real bounce target is the 55, as always. So let's go look at this in sats. Let's actually give you some numbers. Yeah, very similarly here too. Daily, we are rejecting from the 200 SMA. So that kind of gives you a good level. Get a nice daily close above the SMA, and you can look for basically a blue sky breakout on Mr. Waves. Because you're pretty... Whoa, calm down here. You're pretty far away. Yeah, you're pretty far away from anything. This is all pretty low volume. Long, pronounced contraction. Finally, a nice little breakout. Beautiful signal when we actually cross above the 55 weekly EMA right here. Earlier signal when we crossed above the 13. But that nice 55 crossover also gave you the WAVES signal as well, and you would have caught all of this. Nice, beautiful trade. And we got that crossover right here, which would have allowed you to catch a 20% trade. Quite nice. And you've had multiple opportunities to exit at price. This looks like distribution to me currently, but it is just price contraction. Let's look at something like the 4-hour. Yeah. Price contraction, lower highs. Testing the 21, which as I've said is not a market bottom, it's a local bottom. And so being aggressive, I'd be looking down here, at least a 10% drop. A 4-hour WADA has told you the exact same thing. It's had you looking to be bearish since over here, and we're starting to get, this is our first 4-hour powerful signal. See if we can actually get this breakdown through the 21. And if that breaks down, I'll look down to come to 1098, 10,098, I believe. Because for some reason it's not displaying an eighth decimal point there. I don't know why it's doing that. It always does that on Waves. I noticed that the last few days I've been looking at Waves. This doesn't look great to me, man. This looks like a selling opportunity. I think I've been consistent about saying that for the last few days. And there have been some minor bounces, yes. Re-exit opportunities, but you know, look, lower high, lower high, lower high. You know, we talked about taking the reversal baseline bounce yesterday, right? Which if you would have done that, right? I think we were talking about that yesterday. I think we were talking about potential upside. Well, you're in profit right now, man, because I think we were right around here when we were talking yesterday, and you had a 10% run up and a re-opportunity to take profit. Looks like we're going to be closing below the baseline actually today for the first time potentially. We'll have to wait and to see when price closes. And kind of our first area below that, I think I just need to move these lines up because yeah, that's where the 13 EMA was yesterday. So we'll just move that bad boy up. The 55 over here, maybe the last time we talked. So on our, if we're staying true to the daily, that's pointing us a little further down around 10,600. And 9,390. But that's not too far off from, that's a little lower than the 4-hour 55 here. So you got some good areas. Yeah, and we can see if we go down to the lower time frame here, yeah, bounced off the 200, broke below the 200, looks like a retest and a rejection. Look at all our moving averages above strongly, beautiful trend, and now curling down below. This looks even like more pronounced distribution with lower highs. Tell it. But let's develop a plan for what if price doesn't behave? What if the price behaves abnormally and Waves is really strong right here and it starts running? Well, I think the daily gives you a pretty good objective level here. You got the 200 SMA. You get a daily close above that. You can look for a breakout continuation long. You know, and you can even, you know, you can monitor that on the daily. And if you want, you can go down to something like a lower time frame and actually catch the signal with your strategy. You're going to get it earlier. Let's move fast. Good question, man. Thank you so much for the tip, my friend. And I wish you the best of luck. Ricky Thompson and Wendy T winning big over there on D Live. And I want to thank again Eli Back for the $5 tip and Wally for the $10 tip, my friend. Thank you so much. CryptoJack asks, can we look at the Bitcoin dominance chart? Are there any observations worth knowing? So I'm not a huge fan of the dominance chart. Looked at it before, but I've kind of become disincentivized with it. Let's see. Come on, TradingView. And we'll just wait. There we go. Took us a while there, but we made it, guys. Dominance plummeted. That was the altcoin rush of early 2018. Dominance rose, and basically everybody was like, nah, we're done with altcoins. They sold them all, and then they've pretty much just been done with altcoins ever since. I guess, okay, so one thing I would say, you guys let me know if you see anything that I don't. But for me, the only kind of subjective idea here is related to altcoins. And what we can see is after the Bitcoin all-time high in December 2017, we see in January dominance just fall off a cliff. And that's because money was just flooding into altcoins, and we had the all-time highs on almost all the altcoins. And that's when they just blew up, man. And who doesn't remember price predictions back in 2017, right? I've got some, don't worry, I've got some bad ones. I can probably go back and find them on YouTube. Heck, I might have even said Ripple $5 at one point in time. I don't think so, but, you know, hey, I was young once too. Now, what do we see as a result of that? Like, what happened after that Bitcoin dominance dropped off, kind of fell off the charts there, and altcoins spiked? I wouldn't say that, you know, Bitcoin has peaked, right? It's obviously, you know, far lower than its high up there at 14,000. But, you know, we haven't really seen dominance fall off. We've seen it kind of come down and kind of consolidate. So, you know, but we have seen altcoins take a run, right? We've seen them take a couple runs. There have been a few altcoin runs this year. Largely people are kind of looking at the charts wrong to find them. But, you know, if I would see a correlation here with dominance dropping off, I would have been way more bullish on altcoins. Maybe I would have caught more of these altcoin pumps rather than the ones that I did. I just don't see the direct correlation. But what I would say is that if we were to have seen that, you know, let's just take that off, divorce that for a second. Now, what we saw in 2000, when Bitcoin peaked, started falling off, altcoins ran, and then they just entered into a multi-year long bear market, for the most part. Of course, Bitcoin did too, but I think we're seeing a big divergence, for the most part, in those willing to hold altcoins as opposed to those willing to hold just Bitcoin. Could be wrong on that. I don't really see anything here that stands out to me, man. Not with Bitcoin's price anyways. You know, I think dominance is a better indicator of altcoin price. Here we see dominance and price moving up, price moving down, dominance, dominance, and price moving up. Dominance kind of moving down as price stalls out. Price moving down with dominance. It does kind of seem like they're roughly correlated, like dominance moves up as price moves up, right? We can see dominance moving up as price moves up. And that's because people are moving out of whatever. Hi, Delilah. Hope you're doing well today. You should be at school. Study seriously. It does kind of seem roughly like they do track each other, which makes sense. I mean, for dominance to go up, people have to be buying more Bitcoin in relation to other altcoins or other assets of the sector. And generally, that's going to be Tether. So when people move from Tether into Bitcoin, that's going to make Bitcoin dominance go up and typically make price go up. So it seems like there is a rough correlation there. There's a pretty big divergence from this high and in price and this high in dominance, which is an equal high and price right here. So that would be it'd be almost like bearish divergence, right? Right? If dominance is equal, I've never thought about that. Using dominance as a divergence indicator. That's an interesting concept. Lower high, higher high. Then if you were to smooth out this data to get rid of some of these peaks and valleys, maybe I'll play around with that. Let's back test that. Did you have anything specific that you kind of had an inkling on? Jai English asks, what is a good indicator for identifying chop in the market? Water explosion. Not a little bit more popular, but things like trend directional force index or average directional index. A lot of volatility indicators out there, but whenever volume is volume is low and volatility is high, that's chop. That equals chop. When volume is high and volatility is low, that's a weak trend. Whenever volume is high and volatility is high, it's a weak trend. So it's a combination of volume and volatility. So finding a good volume indicator, finding a good volatility indicator really help out. Michael Naranjo asks, how does Ravencoin look to get into? Well, you've got one typo and one misspelled word in your statement there, Delilah. All right, let's see. Mr. Ravencoin. Okay, so from a supply and demand perspective, That's a long message. I'll tell you that. Okay. All right, sorry, let me kind of get focused in again here. Mr. Ravencoin. What am I, 24? Supply and demand perspective does not look too bad. You've got a pretty good invalidation level down here, aka accumulation level right here. You got some pretty fairly clear targets. ETP makes this fairly simple. Not yet. Not yet. We are above the baseline. We are going to be getting the Minx crossover today. So there is an opportunity on the table for a 2-conf. No, not a 2-conf. Not really a big fan of 2-confs. CCI is still below the dynamic zero line. And Wadatar Explosion, which, you know, the more and more and more that I trade, you know, this thing is just so beautiful, man. All you're doing right now is picking a market bottom. You don't have confirmation that you're going to actually begin trending to the upside. Because when we do drop down here, I mean, there's a lot of opportunity for drawdown and wicks to the downside. This is kind of the first little bounce back off of this accumulation level. And you never have any guarantee that it'll hold. But you got a pretty good upside target for another run up, obviously. But again, it's always safer to wait for the good trending signal, right? Like here it is right here. Get the volume coming in. We only have the volume coming in right now. This is relatively weak. And it's going to take a few more days to actually get that trend flip to the upside. So I would hold on Mr. Ravencoin right now. Let's look for... Hmm. 4-hour opportunity right there. 4-hour opportunity there. No. Let's see here. Intraday, you might have a little opportunity here. On the 55. And then exit if we close below. And then your next level is going to be down here at the 200. But you can kind of see the difference. Well, you know, you've seen this. Like every time we get down to the 55, you can see the EMAs curl in, bounce, and then that rights itself. That's really what you want to watch for, right? You can either, you know, pick the bottom, which is one way to trade it, buy the 55 for the bounce, or as you can see, which worked over here every single time, is actually wait for these to curl back up and close back above, and then take it trending to the upside, or intraday trade to the upside. Give you an opportunity there. A couple different ways to do it. But larger term scale, I would wait for confirmation. Larger term scale, I'd wait for confirmation. Caprica asks, have I ever seen a small candle on Sundays on Forex from certain brokers' data? I've got it on IG from their MetaTrader 4. Can I change this? Not a big MetaTrader 4 guy. So no, and I don't really have the answer to that question. I'm sure if you send their support an email, or if you ask, yeah, just send IG. Just send IG a support email, and I'm sure they can answer that. Wendy asks if PCG is looking good for a weekend hodl. Let's see if Pacific Gas looks different today. Same thing I said the other day. I don't like it. They got earnings coming out sometime soon. Did you bi-monthly? Put out earnings in May and then not until August. So it's like, maybe not for another couple of months. Oh, here it is though. February. No, sir. Wait until Monday and see if we can take a long on it. Take a continuation long on it. Minx is below noise. CCI below dynamic. Wattis telling you to stay out. A lot of chop. So there's trades here, but just not my style of trading. Taking a look back at the broader market. Go Matic, it's your birthday. Go Mana, it's your birthday. 4 hour does seem like it wants to give us the buy signal. You got about 26 minutes for it. All right, let's go to have any Xmas tunes. Benjai asks if I have any thoughts on mentors. Yes, they are absolutely essential. I wouldn't have gotten where I am in life without my mentor, and I've been blessed to be able to act in that role for other individuals as well. You need a community and you need help. Everybody does. Very difficult to go this alone. Matic isn't available for the United States. What happens if I hold it? Sooner or later, it will be on Coinbase. Well, that's a prediction. I mean, I'm not 100% certain how Matic structures. If they have some software wallet, then you can hold your coin in. Then you can hold your coin. It's crypto, man. I do want to respond to Mr. Wally and Mr. Agency here on a topic kind of near and dear to my heart. So Wally was being a little sarcastic here, and he said something, breaking news. Nobody disagrees about the how or the why, but the how. Or the what, but the how. And then Agency said there's different ways to raise kids, it seems. And then Wally said, breaking news, people do things differently. You're absolutely right. Right. There are, of course, different ways to do things. Okay. But what I've seen in my experience with the world today is that there seems to be a disconcerting trend of people having no plan. So it's not people doing things differently, because the people like you who will make that statement, right, generally are the kind of people who will actually put forethought and effort into raising their children to develop somebody who is respectful and helpful and has a strong work ethic and has goals and has dreams and is kind and is a good person, right? And there are things that will always happen. Every individual life is different. But most of the kids that I see, their parents have no clue how to raise them. So it's not that they have some strenuous faith or belief and I just want to raise my kid differently. No, most of you are just crappy parents from what I've seen. You know, most parents that I see, this is the majority of children, right? So this is the majority of kids in public school. This is the majority of kids I run into on a daily basis, right? They're just like completely unmindful, right? A lot of kids nowadays are either medicated or overweight. I see very few kids in the middle, right? It's really sad. It's really sad to me, right? And parents generally, most parents I run into don't have any clue of what to do, of what they're doing, or why their kid acts how they act. And I think that contributes back into the medicating kids and then, you know, and then overfeeding kids. I think people just don't have a firm plan. I think that people have kind of lost touch with any kind of plan on how to raise kids. You know, I don't want to tell people what to do. I don't want to tell people how to raise their kids. I just want to tell people to raise their kids, like do something, right? I would argue that if your how of raising your child results in one of the kids that I just described, then you're likely doing something wrong, right? And I don't care how you do it. I think that society would be a little bit of a better place if parents, you know, were focused on the end goal of like having a kid that was honest, ethical, strong, proud, brave, you know, all these virtues that we want to be ourselves, right? Last Christmas, I bought XRP. The very next day, I sold it away. Thank you so much, Benjai. Is this the last Christmas that XRP will ever see? Is there a correlation between China's rainy season and the price of Bitcoin? You know, Crypto Daily's making some really good videos. So I definitely want to give him a shout out on that. Now, we were kind of talking about the drop in hash rate, and I've seen this theory floated around that that the reason that we've seen the decline in hash rate is due to the fact that cheap hydroelectric electricity is on the decline, just currently seasonally in China. I haven't done the research myself. To see if there's actually direct correlation there. But it is definitely an interesting idea. It's definitely an interesting idea. But that doesn't really change the fact that what we have seen is that every time hash rate falls below difficulty adjustment, with very few exceptions, so we get a pretty massive blow off bottom. Don, you should have been an artist, man. What are my thoughts on Lino and its future? I quite like Lino. I think it's a neat idea, at least how DLive's implemented it. You know, it's a very similar idea to Props, right? And Props is one of the two projects in the United States that have received SECA plus regulation. So I've talked about my involvement with those before. Yeah, I think that Lino, I think that the way that Lino has structured their reward system or their ability to be generated and translated across multiple platforms to adopt that, I think it's neat. I mean, so just the struggle now is that, you know, a lot of here's the thing, a lot of these projects are good, right? Lino is a great example. It's just, okay, well, what follow through are you guys going to have, right? So, you know, from the world of investment, as somebody who's been an investor for quite a while, you just got to pick your horses, man. You got to do your research as best as you can. And if you're talking about, so your question's very broad, so I'm trying to hit it on a lot of points. Like, you know, financially, well, that depends on the team. That depends on its adoption. That depends on a lot of factors that you don't know a priori, right? When you invest, you're risking, right? You are taking a risk when you invest because you do not know the future. You have no idea how well the company or the project will perform. As far as adoption, kind of the same answer. As far as how they've structured their chain, their system, I think it's pretty neat. Yeah, I like Lino. All right, you guys are getting a little You guys getting a little out there talking about cats and stuff. All right, I love you. Guys, it's really important. I got to tell you something. Breaking news. It's Friday. We made it. It's the weekend, guys. Hooray, yippee. Do I have the... Oh, yeah, I do. It's right here. Hooray, we made it. It's the weekend. We made it. It's here, guys. I got the other one. There it is. So listen, guys, I want you guys to be safe. It is a wild world out there, cryptocurrency, and we are moving into the weekend. And I will not be back until Monday. Now, I will be someplace, and that is called the Cracking Cryptocurrency Discord. And you guys can join us in the Discord at discord.crackingcryptocurrency.com. Join our free trading community. We've got a lot of great stuff in there. Remember, you got to do the verification if you want to come in, and we're always looking to make our Discord better. So you guys have any suggestions, please let us know. But we will be back here for you on the live stream on Monday at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. I am still doing the setup to get all of the analysts on the weekend streaming to you guys. Please be patient. The way we move is slow, but that's why we build the support that we do, because when we actually roll things out, they are good and well thought out. All right. There's, whatever you guys do, just remember, the weekend gives you a lot of false signals. There can be some volatility, but there's often lower volume. So my general rule of thumb for the weekend is set your expectations a little lower and be a little bit more aggressive, and you'll be okay, right? But above all, trade safely. Now, if you guys support the show, if you guys like what we're doing, of course, you can support us by subscribing over on YouTube. We're almost to 7K, baby. Been a long time coming. I highly appreciate the support. Every single one of you are awesome, with very few exceptions. And I continually appreciate the support. Now, we're going to be doing a crypto comment giveaway. Now, I've gotten some suggestions from my team, but I haven't quite nailed out exactly what we want to do. So let's just do random commenter. We will pick a random YouTube commenter on Monday for Monday's crypto comment giveaway winner. So leave your comment down below, and you will have a chance to be entered for the Cracking Cryptocurrency random comment giveaway that we do every single day. Let me know something that you learned from today's show. We talked about regulation. We talked about the Cryptocurrency Act of 2020. Let me know you guys' thoughts on that and what you kind of expect to see moving forward. Of course, if you guys have any other questions, you can, of course, leave them down there for me. I'll do my best to get back to you as well. Of course, if you guys would like to come trade with us, if you guys would like to go through the Pathways to Profit course, have access to our indicators, and begin learning from a team that deals in statistics, probability, and verifiable technical edge, you can, of course, check the links down in the description for more information for what we do as far as our mentoring and our trading services. You guys have been awesome. Of course, I'm Justin, Cracking Cryptocurrency, and I want you guys to have a fantastic weekend. If I don't see you guys, of course I will. I will be here next week. We will be taking Christmas off. We won't be here Christmas, but I'll be here every other day of the week, right? But happy early holidays, guys. Make sure to order your gifts if you haven't already. It's getting to be crunch time, and you're already going to be paying for priority shipping, guys, for those celebrating Christmas. And above all, don't stress out this Christmas, right? One gift, one person. You're not going to get 90 presents for everybody. Just show them that you love them. Show them that you care, right? Holidays are about family, about togetherness, about union. Honor the ones that you love. Honor your friends and family. You don't need to give them physical items that you're buying in a rush off Amazon. You have no idea what they want. I'll just get them a blender. Come on, man. Don't do that, right? Don't do that. If there's any person out there, now, you should be generous, but if you have friends who it will negatively impact your relationship if you don't get them something on Christmas, I'll save you a lot of money right now. That's not a friend you want to have in your life, right? Don't get caught up in the consumerism. Use the money that you would waste on that stuff and invest it, right? Start building wealth for the future. Start building wealth for your family. And it starts today. Trade safely, guys. I'll see you on Monday.